Ernest and Mrs. Log, who after years of food preparation will be retired. Thank you,
Kathy's
Ernest,
going to be in Iceland.
for your efforts in the past. Yes, she's got the perfect excuse. She's going to be in Iceland. That's right. Eating whale blubber, do you think? Or what? No. All right. Food preparation help would be appreciated, but I'm telling you, this is going to be as simple an operation as we've ever had. In fact, last year, really, if you recall, we kept it to hot dogs, hamburgers. My wife made some chili. Maybe one other person brought an entree, and nobody walked away unhappy or unfed. I will tell you, though, everybody was so busy operating that largely we dragged the food to the operating positions so people went and continued to operate. So, a couple things that we're going to do to economize, and a couple things I've discovered about life at the museum. Shh, we're not buying any ice this year. Guess what the museum has? Their own ice making machine. I didn't know this. So I asked one of the guys that runs the operation, is it okay to take a bag to the observatory? Oh yeah, take a bag, whatever you want. There's 40 bags of ice sitting in the machine.
Where's it located?
It's down in the tool shed. So do you know the layout well? Because you've been up there over the
Yeah,
years.
I have.
When you cross the corral and you look dead ahead, you're pointing right at the main tool shed area. The old store used to be there. It's on the other side of the bridge where the otters were, right in that area. There's a huge tool shed, and that's where they keep all their equipment. So we got a nice machine. Also understand something. I was reluctant to fully exploit the 2 refrigerators because remember, summer camp always started the day after field day. It doesn't this year. One of the refrigerators is one that was donated by the Martins, me personally, to the museum when my parents died, and we got to clean out their house. So we'll borrow a bag or 2 of ice to keep maybe 1 cooler with chilled drinks. In the old days, we would have 2 or 3. Why? Because the operating positions were all dissipated. We're not doing that this year. Other things to consider. I got a ratty old microwave oven that I wouldn't want to show to a bunch of, say, food inspection connoisseurs, but it works. I've also got a 4-plate stove burner arrangement, although I don't have an oven. Let's take advantage of it this year and just keep things simple. So basically, hot dogs, hamburgers, my wife's chili, maybe some beans to complement it, whatever anybody else feels like bringing. So, John, do you want to bring your charcoal burner this year? And is it still
You gotta bring the 2 grills.
pretty good shape?
I think, we talked at the board meeting, you weren't there. But we decided that we probably could get along with 1.
Yeah, if you want. Do you see what I'm saying?
And
I
think
think
you know.
it's a little bigger. All right.
Okay.
whichever
give it some
one
thought.
you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, we're just trying to keep things simple for you. But like I say, in the end, we've never taken advantage of that kitchen. Now, the other thing is in the old days, you wouldn't want to have shown anybody the kitchen. I still won't say it's going to pass inspection by the city if they ever went up there. But for the one or two of you that have seen the condition of the machine room that we have worked in the past, I threw out 4 van loads of garbage metal that had been cached there for building and fabricating parts for the telescope in case it was ever needed. There's a ton more room in there, and you can actually be fairly organized in that place. So, that's the way we're looking. Really, the most undefined thing is the food. Hot dogs, hamburgers, and chili, and whatever else we add on top of that. Now, the other thing that Ernest and Kathy used to do that was most appreciated was to show up on Sunday to cook early breakfast. We dispensed with that last year. And I will tell you, one of the most satisfying stories of operating last year was my friend Jerry was awoken by my friend Brooke at 5:30 in the morning, rolled out of bed. I heard them wrestling back and forth. They exchanged the count. Out goes my friend Jerry. Now, these people have never operated with this before. I had told them, bring nothing, all the logistics are handled. So I finally stirred it around 5:30. Something woke me up. I don't know what it was. And I walk outside, and there's Jerry. And I'm like, we're just about to serve breakfast. He looks up at me, and he goes, breakfast? I can't believe it. I said, well, the coffee just showed up because you just showed up with a jug of Joe. How do you take your coffee? And he turns around like he's seeing a ghost. And he goes, light with sugar? Okay, boom, 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 here. Now, when I said breakfast, you have your choice of either some donut holes or some donuts that we brought along, or some Jimmy Dean sausage patties that I've learned how to microwave over the years, and they're just the most divine things you'll ever eat. And he goes, I'll have one. Came down, gave him the coffee, gave him the sausage biscuit. He was halfway through eating it. He looks up at me and he says, you know, this is the best field day I've ever been to. Food is important on field day. It doesn't have to be connoisseur stock, right? The other thing is God bless me, I'm now in possession of 3 Keurig machines. 3. So we'll dispense with the Joe this year. I will just bring up a box of the cartridges, and we'll probably just throw it inside the door of the observatory, on a table. This way we can just access it and make coffee, whatever you want. And there's nothing wrong with the Joe, it's just that if you recall, after an hour or two, no matter what you do to keep it warm, we resorted to running it through the microwave.
You gonna bring hot chocolate up also?
That's right. Well, you gonna come? Then I'll bring hot chocolate.
Of course.
So you
Am I gonna come?
Right, you can't do the caffeine then still.
We had special hot dogs this year, they're in the shape of lobsters.
Like the lobsters, yeah, that's the big joke. Yes. The official hot dog for Sarah this year will be Hebrew Nationals. Will that help her?
I'll
If I'm
be there
buying anyway. All right. In the past, we have economized by doing runs up to Costco, which based on the crowd size, the people that.
Yeah, we've come way back on
Might have been a
that.
good idea, but-
You get everything at ShopRite.
Which is what you did last year,
I
right?
have done ShopRite.
Yeah, that's what you did last year.
Last
Everything worked out
couple of years.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would endorse that approach.
Yeah,
this
we
year.
usually go Saturday morning before field day, and we get everything
Very
in
good.
one fell swoop.
But like I say, the other thing to consider is, if we think we're going to be short of manpower, there's no reason we can't buy that stuff on Monday, stock the refrigerators with it, if we're so disposed. There's no law
Yeah,
against
well, we
us
can
doing
figure
that.
that out.
Okay. Alrighty, so what it all boils down to then is we always go through a list of things that we still need. In many ways we've gotten this down to a bit of a science. So, laptops. I've got one, Marcel's going to be bringing one, you're going to have the N1 MM software installed on it. So basically we need 2 more. Fred usually accounts for 1, Ernest usually accounts for 1.
Yeah, I don't know whether mine is serviceable anymore, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
It's running on.
You still have one that's fairly reliable?
I think so,
Okay.
yeah. I'll
Test
check it out.
Lest there be any doubt, all right?
Well, with Windows 10, nothing's reliable because it updates and stops working.
I've had Windows 10 for about the last 3 months, so I'm glad to hear you report that, because I thought it was B. You follow me? Yeah, no, I keep getting
Yeah, they
updates
keep
left and
changing
right.
things all the time.
Yeah. All right.
Make sure you know your password, don't depend on a PIN, because if it updates, it
Right.
won't take the PIN. It has to have the original password.
I turn the updates off.
Yeah, no,
You can't do
Yeah.
that with 10, I don't think.
You can if you know what you're doing.
yeah, no, there is a backdoor way to do it, but ultimately, you don't want to do it for long, you're not doing yourself any
Yeah,
favors.
you're not doing something.
All right, so a couple other things. We can never have enough heavy-duty extension cords. Now, I've got maybe a 100-footer or a couple of 50-footers up there, but again, when we're running 2 tenths off one generator, having a couple of professional quality 100-footers gives us a lot more flexibility. So if anyone's a tradesman here or just has a good 100-foot heavy-duty one at home, feel free to bring it along. We used to always advertise for coax and rope. I tell you what, we got quite an inventory. I think we're covered in both directions this year, especially based on the reduced number of antennas we'll put up. We need operators, we need loggers. If you've never operated before, we largely start you off as a logger, and we're using the N3 MFP field day software, which has been designed for the purpose. And then after a while of doing the observing, we just have you switch positions and you can take over. And if you, again, never done field day, we just do a very quick exchange where we identify the fact that we are a 2A category station, identify ourselves, the call line, and exchange the signal reports with the other station, and that's it. So the QSOs are very terse.
The state, not signal report, or your district.
District, I'm sorry, you're right. 3 Alpha, Connecticut. Okay,
2
you're right.
alpha.
2 Alpha,
No, I
Charlie
just-
Tango.
You don't understand. This is Terry ruminating what he said last year and trying to decode it in the context of what Fred is telling me. So yes, you're right. Last year it was just 3A, Charlie Tango.
Whiskey 1, Echo, Echo, or Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right. You do have to understand, by the way, if you're not a Morse code operator, that we've got one of the coolest call signs to use on field day you can imagine. Because EE, dot, dot. And in fact, the only problem we've had with it over the years, as Andy would point out, is we have to be extra slow as we send the individual dots, or people just think they're hearing an I.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to float this idea largely for future purposes rather than this year. We do have a nice call sign to operate, but there are the 1x1s available. I don't know whether it's our while to do it this year, but next year, if we try to go back to a world-class operation, we may just want to consider getting a 1x1. No, you don't like it?
No.
Why not?
It's not us.
I understand that, but people seem to want to work the 1x1s because they think they're working somebody important.
They are. Whiskey 1, Echo Echo.
I knew I could count on you for
That's,
support.
I like that.
It's short enough that it's not a problem.
True. No, I would say it's about the best 1x2 you could possibly have for a field day. I think the other problem with the 1x1 is I know until I got used to the idea that I would ask for fill on the second character 5 times. So, questionable how much you're economizing, as a result of going that route. All right.
What about headphones for both operators? So it cuts down the exterior noise that are interfering with it.
Anybody can do anything they want with the headphones. Now, if you watch Adam, when I talk to Adam, I'm talking while he's working on his headphones. Adam's apparently learned how to read my lips. We can have conversations where he doesn't hear a
But
word
if
I'm saying,
you have a box,
but
you
still
can
understand
put
it.
two headsets into.
I know, but the only problem is when you're dealing with an inexperienced logger, there's going to be a lot of verbal exchange as to what you're hearing and how it's to be logged. So, it's just a matter of taste. If people want to do that, I have no objections, and I do know Adam will bring a headset. I've got a passive headset that a logger can use that we could bring too. But then you would need the yokes.
Yeah, I mean, you get 3 or 4 people in the tent,
Right.
and it gets noisy.
But do understand, we're still going to go with the assumption that separate tents or operations for each of the stations. We're
You
not
still
combining
get
them.
3 or 4 people in the tent,
Right.
the
You know,
separate
you
tent.
say that, in my experience, they sit in the tent for 10 minutes, then they get bored and they leave. And as a serious operator, I never encourage them to stay. And maybe that's got something to do with it, I don't know. But really, I seldom have that problem. Where we did have problems in the old days was when we were 3A and we had 2 sideband stations 50 feet from each other. And Matt was operating the other sideband station.
Yeah.
And you could swear the guy on the other end of your QSO could hear Matt screaming into the microphone 50 feet away. Different tastes for different people, but I will try. I'll be bringing a headset of my own. Adam will bring one. Does anybody else have a headset? So you do. Can you bring it
Bring
up?
your headset.
Yeah. Bring it up. Which model do you have?
We'll plug you in.
Not a boom mic, just earphones.
Just the headset. Okay. No, I'm looking for one with a boom mic.
I know. I've got that too, but mine's an aviation version, which is a different impedance.
Okay. So now, I don't want to sound like I am motivated by the wrong things in life or that I'm going to abscond in the middle of the night just to get a decent bite to eat, but what's on the menu at Wicca this year, Stan?
No lobster this
No
year.
lobster! Oh, jeez.
We decided that just wasn't worth it anymore. It was getting too expensive,
Right.
and we'd be running out, and people would get mad, so no lobster this year.
Right.
Filet mignon.
Right.
Yes,
So one other casual question, because last year you guys, I'm sitting here doing the score analysis, and I'm like, yeah, so as I was checking all the regional stations around here, I got a real big surprise. So are you guys really going balls to the wall this year, like you did last year, or is this
we do
casual?
every year. We have the members who come and operate.
12,000
up.
points doesn't happen by
And
accident,
set
Stan,
up.
though.
And tear down. We've
Right.
got the 100-foot crank-up tower, we've got the 80-foot crank-up tower,
Right.
we've got the CW truck with the 40-foot pneumatic on it, plus the wire antennas that we have up. We shoot up.
We are not worthy. No, if you ever want to see a class operation in action, visit WECA. They have the hardware, let me tell you.
Fortunately, the county supplies a lot of the equipment, like the towers.
Sure. All right, additional stuff. Setup on Friday is always a challenge. I'm retired now, I don't need to take a day off for this anymore. We had a kind of a preliminary discussion as to who could show up for setup. So I think you indicated you'll be available?
I'll be
Because
there
we can take
Friday.
that as
I'll
a
be
day.
here Friday.
You'll be there as well. Okay. Really, in terms of the skilled operations, the 3 of us can probably handle it.
I'll be up there Friday later than 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that's, I understand.
I'll
you
be
coming in
there
afternoon.
about 9:15.
All right, because here's the other thing I wanted to point out. We need knot tires, and you fulfill that category. So yeah, if you show up at 9:15 and it's just me and you, we'll start shooting.
We'll start
words.
shooting the test.
Right,
That's what we do.
yeah, and that's the way we'll handle it. And then as the other guys show up, we'll just divvy up the hardware assignments. But yeah,
Is there gonna be poison ivy in the upper, or the
Where
corral
will it be?
area as
we're
well?
keeping
Marijuana.
an eye on things, and here's what we're beginning to see this year. They've had a campaign where they've been dumping sawdust and conscientiously trimming the lawn because the summer camp comes along, and this is Connecticut, where we invented the concept of Lyme disease. So, a lot of the area has been cleaned up, covered with sawdust, and They took a weed whacker last year, if you remember, to the poison ivy patch. I was talking to Sal, one of the groundskeepers, and he said something to the effect of, if he had the time, he would do that for us again. But folks, if you're handling anything near the ground and you don't know what poison ivy looks like, we have gloves. So we basically steal about 100 sets of surgical gloves, and if you can't identify poison ivy, or if you've got any hesitation as to whether it is or isn't, wear the gloves when you're handling anything that's been in proximity.
And
Because-
long sleeves.
Oh, definitely.
And
the
long
sleeves.
pants.
Because one of the
And bring bug
sneakiest
spray.
things, right, one of the sneakiest things that's ever happened was the year that we were dragging a bunch of coax and we didn't know we were dragging through poison ivy. And it wasn't a bad outbreak. You could barely tell you had it, but webs of fingers, why? Because you're thinking, how did that possibly get exposed? Because you're pulling the coax through your fingers as you're trying to scoop it out. So you gotta be careful. Ticks. I'm an expert on the subject of ticks. I have learned a couple things, interestingly enough, in the last couple of months about them. I bring 5 gallons of off with me. If you're really militant, like I am, I actually bring some illegal 100% deep bends sold in some of the hunting states and imported to Connecticut. But I swear to God will keep your family dog and your wife off you. It's that effective. But it's up to you. If you're part of the assembly crew, don't show up in shorts. It can be uncomfortable, it can sometimes get hot, but you'll see us all dressed in full trousers. I
That's
do
right.
do the tuck in of the cuffs
Yeah.
and saturate myself with the spray. If you're still shy about ticks, I will tell you I'm blind as a bat, but I'm pretty good at tick inspection. And I've done it before. The other good news about ticks, which I was unaware of, this is a recent finding now. 2 things, just to add to your repertoire. I used to always assume that after I went through a prospective tick cycle, while working at the observatory, what I would do is go home and throw all my clothes in the washing machine, figuring, oh, well, concussion alone will kill the little son of a bitch. Guess what? It won't. And interestingly enough, what's the standard recommendation when you remove your clothes? Throw it in the dryer. Turn the heat up full blast, and 6 minutes of heat exposure kills them. They can go through an entire heavy-duty chlorinated or bleached cycle in the washing machine and still come out alive, if you can believe it. The other thing is if you get a tick on you and you recognize it, just call me over. Really, pulling them out is fairly simple. You want to immediately put some disinfectant on it, followed by some, basically vasotracin, something along those lines. But here's the good news. It turns out it takes a tick a full 24 hours to be able to discharge the antibodies in you. Recent finding that I was unaware of, because I've been to a couple preemptive strikes where I pulled the tick out as he was on his way in and still gone to my doctor to get the negatives. But you do want to take these babies seriously and go into full coverage mode. And if you remember, jokingly, when Matt was around with us and he was, basically unemployed or still a teenager, it was his job to go through tick country and the swamp to track down the tennis balls. Interestingly enough, as much square surface area as he had, he never once got a case of poison ivy. He never got a tick bite. I think I've been whacked 6 times by ticks in my field day endeavors over the course of about the last 12 years. So it is something you want to watch out for. All right. Good thing on the tear down. No necessity to get everything wrapped up by 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, knowing the summer camp's coming the following day. All those Northeasters postponed the beginning of camp until the 2nd of July because I guess the school system's going to be in school till July 24th or 25th. This works in our favor because what we really want to do is make sure we've got the rough out work done on the teardown. If there's still a couple miscellaneous things to be done, we don't have to kill ourselves getting it under our belts like we did last year. It's something I can come back the following day and take care of. All right. So that's what we're looking at largely for this year. Again, what we have to deal with is the uncertainty of what we will confront in terms of the grounds. So, we do need operators. Also, keep something in mind, this was a bonus that we forwent last year, the under 18 operators. If anyone's got children, grandchildren, neighborhood children that you can bribe with a popsicle, I don't care how you get them there. Bring them there. We need 5. And did we make that bonus last year, or do you recall? Did we get a surprise visitor where we actually...
One visitor was Ernest Swenson.
Yeah, Zachary.
Okay.
Not Zachary, Jason.
All right. Maybe I'm thinking of the previous year where we had 2 or 3 people
Yeah, no, Jason
spontaneously
was
show
really
up.
working last year.
Okay. All righty.
And he enjoys it. I mean, he called me up and said, when is field day? Yeah, like this and all. I
By
don't
the
know
way-
about this year, but I think he'll probably be up there.
We are all getting old. I have not sent my yearly greeting email to Bugs, but Bugs is going to be a senior in college this year.
You're kidding.
My, how time flies.
Wow.
You want to hear a funny story, though, about her? This is just amazing. She tried out in Westport, which is her hometown, to go to the volunteer fire department. And I guess they have this attitude that they just really don't like the ladies in the volunteer fire department. Did you ever hear
She
her?
think I look sick.
Do you ever hear her athletic statistics? You have to understand, this girl was being scouted for a prep school hockey goalie. And if you remember, AT used to carry a little index card that had all her statistics, because when you talk to coaches, they're looking to coach a future Olympian. Okay, so what's her running speed in the 40? Really? Does she work out with weights? Yeah. What can she bench press? Really? She took the test. She took the physical. So how the hell they could possibly refuse her? Did everything, including the full weight drag. You know, so I think for some of the women in some of the places, they will still give you the ladies handicap. No, I think she passed it by the male criteria. So I just saw a picture of her dressed in her outfit, and I could be wrong, but I think two of her buddies from Connecticut College of Women went out and did National Park Service parachute duty or training. So I don't know whether she's going to take that up or what, but quite a character, that's all I can say. All right, so that's the proposal. Again, a little bit more ambiguity this year, because we're just going to have to watch and wait and see what happens to that lot. But as Andy can attest to you, I've been back and forth, both the corral and the observatory area, with measuring tapes and compasses, learning the relative positioning of every tree. So almost no matter what we're left with, unless we got no place to park, we should be able to pull something off. All right?
Do you
Okay,
want
thank
to
you.
have any more meetings before field day?
No. Only because honestly, unless we had the meeting the Thursday before the weekend, we wouldn't be armed with the information. Because
When's the
literally,
next board?
it's the way we get it. Well, we're done, I guess, for the year.
There'll be no board meeting then.
Yeah, we're done till September. Unless, I mean, sometimes we
should
do a
put out-
casual.
I think we should have one over the summer or something.
Yeah,
We're supposed
casual.
to have on the 21st. That's
Okay.
what calendar, that's the third Thursday of the month.
Okay, which would be in fact Thursday before field day. I mean, if you want to, we can.
I'm just saying, we can cancel it.
Yeah, we don't have to have it, unless you feel you need it, but, you know.
Right,
if
yeah,
you-
let's leave it at this. If all of a sudden I get a bee in my bustle with respect to plans and the way things have been presented to me, then we do it. If
Okay.
not,
All right,
Fair
so we'll send out a notice when we get there.
okay. All right, fair enough.
Did you
But
mention
otherwise,
the date
we're
of
gonna
field day?
Yes,
23rd,
so this is June 23rd and 24th this year. So it is the weekend after Father's Day.
Mhm.
Why is this relevant? Because part of that 7,300 is my Father's Day present.
Wow.
It's like, well, you say that, everything, it's real simple. I think you know I'm a drinker. Single malt scotch. So no lie, my daughter understands alcoholic beverages, as does my son, and they have tutored my wife. So last year it was 3 bottles of single malt scotch. You know what? I appreciate the gesture. I'd rather have the 7,300. So I just said, look, whatever you throw away in cash, just hand to your mother and I'll pay for the rig. And my wife agreed to forego the normal present, contribute the cash too.
Good radio, though, good
Yeah.
radio. You'll be pleased with that, the more you use it.
Yep. Well, the other thing